Hi, I'm Daniel, and my previous two Yell House videos did well, and I like discussing it, so I will start with my first character video. Luan is the best Yell family in my opinion, and I might as well use my ranking here. The other best ones are Yenny, Yuna, Yinkin, and Yin Senior. Good characters who aren't quite in a higher tier are Yusi, Yana, Yisa, and Rita. Yeye is just a baby, so she can't be any higher, but Any Given Sunday was an amazing episode. I don't really like Yin and Yori most of the time, and Yori is worse, but she deserves a full video about that. Anyway, Yuan is the joke one, and she is often overlooked for having that be her only personality trait, but there is more to her. She is mostly in supporting roles, and he seems to have less episodes than most of them, but that is where she works well for comedic relief. There are other reasons that I will go through when discussing episodes of the show with her as a main character. Got the list of episodes to rewatch from the wiki and I included them all except Deep Cuts and Sitting Wall since they're not really Yuan episodes. Also, because they're totally different and best to be discussed all as a quadrilogy, the April Fool's episode we talked about after. Funny Business is more of a Yinkin episode because in season 1 he had to have a major role in most episodes. But it still helps you out introducing Yuan. It shows she isn't just someone who tells jokes and pulls pranks, she actually runs a business around it with planning birthday parties. I often prefer watching the older Yao siblings since they can have jobs, learn to drive and things like that. In this episode, Yinkin becomes Yuan's assistant and both somewhat learn a lesson here instead of just one of them. It's far from one of the show's best, but it's still a good episode. No Yapping Matters episode I remember being indifferent towards when I first saw it, but on rewatch I grew to like this episode. Luan gave up comedy because she thought it itself was annoying her family, but it's actually how she was overdoing it. The lesson is to know the right place for things like this. So I find it funny how Yinkin's plan here backfired. He wanted to tell Yuan joke to an audience to show others find her funny. But instead he gets the jokes wrong and that makes Yuan tell them properly. It still worked out well but not in the right way. Head Poet Anxiety is the episode that made her the best, and this episode pairs with Yusi, who was the former best but went down in a list into a friend group of prevalent in all your recent episodes. An extended group of friend characters don't go well in the outhouse. I want just Yinkin and Clyde again, not the rest of them. Anyway, this helped give you an development for mentoring Yusi to be a performer with some sort of poem. When Yusi ends up stealing Yuan's dream, she is jealous but there isn't a real conflict or something like season 5 would like you do. He's a yay in the top 10 best episodes. Stage Fright was surprisingly high rated despite being put with better each episode. Normally gay representation vastly overshadows other parts of animated shows. I am mixing this episode because at the time it was getting tiring to have the same Yard House story format. Same with the secret episode, A Pimple Pian. This is a beyond relationship. Feast or Family is an episode that is also a yin episode, the older one that gets confusing. And he is the one who actually learns the lesson. You shouldn't force interest on your children or people, and while Changing the Baby tells a similar message much better, it's a good episode. Director's Rut is her most recent episode, and it's about her writing a play that is being performed. And I like how her talents are expanding further than just comedy. When being performed, the actors keep changing the play, so she uses Mr. Coconut to be more assertive, and it's a great episode. It reminds me of Chef Bob from SpongeBob. Speaking of him, Mr. Coconut is a part of her character, who gets a lot of lines and mostly appears with her. I can understand how a lot of people find him annoying, and when it's not the right moment he is, but I am fine with him most of the time. Anyway, Yuan is an entertaining character with funny jokes, which also gets development and has a lot of great episodes. Especially Head Poke Anxiety, revealing how much rejection she got. Now we have got the April Fool's episodes that presents her in an antagonistic role. And this was a yearly thing until taking a break for a couple of years. April Fool's Reboot is the first one in the series, and here it's played more comedically, and her pranks don't come as too cruel. This episode is also really funny. My favourite joke is when Yuan is trapped in a crate with all of the siblings all make great puns. Followed by Yenny just saying you're in a crate. Vio's Paradise is next. It's amazing for how intense it makes the concept with her old apartment. The episode has a great plot twist which is well foreshadowed and the comedy is still great. It is easily the best in both this series of episodes. Compared to other Luan episodes, it's only slightly weaker in Head Poet's Anxiety. They All Meet Twice is the third one, despite the title having the word twice in it. In this, the family hires stunt doubles to take thanks for them, but somehow Luan convinces them to be involved in her plan. It was built up that it cost Luan money to rent them, so it implies either Luan paid more, which wouldn't make sense, or they never wanted to pay and was working with Luan. The episode doesn't give an explanation on that. Also, having the stunt doubles ruin their life, some smaller and some worse, doesn't fit with the other episodes and it isn't that fun of an idea. This is a weak episode I don't really like much, and I like it caused this series of episodes to skip season 4. I didn't even know there was going to be a 4th one until I was catching up with season 5. Silence of the Luans doesn't have Luan as the villain, instead having someone else anonymously pulling pranks, but Yink is the only one who thinks it's not Luan. This is a great episode and second best out of the 4. I already said I don't like the third one, I can't see how people say she's too mean there, but the others aren't really listening, but sent her antagonistic, yay. It's also debatable whether you can consider these canon or not. These work well standalone and together. It's weird how the show doesn't have as much series or episodes like this. In conclusion, you don't have to agree with this take, especially since it's mainly personal preferences or what characters people prefer. But I do think I explained well enough why I think this for her development and comedic perspective. It also helps us as yes episodes in screen time. I will discuss this more in my Yori video, but one of the reasons I think she's the worst is that the show focuses on her yacht, giving her a lot of episodes. I caught her with season 5, which is unfortunately the weakest season. The biggest problem is how most episodes have a contrived either reveal or misunderstanding of some sort. It was always a show that commonly used this format, but after 5 seasons it's tiring, and the show needs to change things up before it majorly declines or just ends soon. It's not even that the show is the same. Yori moved away and Yik is in a new school and things like that, but the writing needs to adjust with this change. It isn't bad because there's still good episodes like the 2 Yuan ones I mentioned, but it's only about half the episodes. Anyway, I might make more videos on this show and franchise. I could watch through more of the Casa Grande because I only watched the first 10 or so episodes and I actually liked it. Possibly more than Modern Yard House. There is a live action Christmas special which looks awful, and the way it seems so close and so far from the usual style feels uncanny. This is a video analysing a section of a TV show, this being a character is more about their episodes rather than traits, since I prefer structuring it that way. The end.